Amanda Saladin here from Love Life Yarn, and today we're going to be knitting this easy Easter egg pattern. Now, this is very easy. Beginners can make this pattern right here. It is worked on straight needles, so it's worked flat and then seamed. If you'd like to work it in the round, you totally can do that. Just change all the purl rows to knit, and then of course work on double pointed or circular needles depending upon which type you like. All right, so I'm not going to show you every single stitch. I'm already assuming you know how to work the knit stitch and the purl stitch. And then I'll show you the techniques to cast on for this particular one, which is just the knitted cast on, and also how to work the knit front and back to increase here, and also how to knit two together if you don't know that here. And then I'll show you the complete finishing steps once this is knit. All right, so are you ready? Let's get started. So first, let's cast on. Begin like you're working a knit stitch. Wrap around just like you're knitting. Pull this loop through. Now loosen it and transfer it to your left-hand needle. One stitch cast on. Now we have two. So again, you insert like you're working a knit stitch. Wrap around just like knitting. Pull through. Loosen that loop and transfer to your left-hand needle. This is the knitted cast on. So we'll do one more together, just like we're working a knit stitch, and then placing it on the left-hand needle. Now don't worry, it tightens up when you go to work the next stitch. So you'll need to cast on 8 stitches for this pattern. Now I've gone ahead and purled the first row, but let me show you how to work the knit front and back. Insert just like you're knitting a stitch and knit as usual. What's different here is that you'll bring your needle around to the back and insert it also into the back of the same stitch. Wrap around again, pull through towards the front, and now push that original loop off of your needle. Okay, so you're going to knit a stitch as normal. Now turn it around to the back. Try to get it here so I can show you. Into the back of the same stitch. Wrap. Pull that loop through. And then slide off. So anytime you see KFB, you'll just do this simple motion. And as you do it more, you'll get the hang of it. And it creates 2 stitches for every stitch that was originally worked. So whenever you see KFB, which stands for knit front and back, work the stitch in this way. And now we're going to show you how to do the knit 2 together. We're going to take these 2 stitches and turn them into 1. So insert your hook just like you're knitting, but do it through 2 stitches instead of 1. So you can see it's right here, just in the front loops of both of these stitches. And then wrap around, just like a regular knit stitch. Pull the loop through. Now push both of those loops off of your needle. Again, insert into 2 stitches, which can be a little tricky sometimes. Wrap, pull loop through, and push both of those off. You see now we only have 2 stitches where we did have 4. So when you see the term K2TOG, you knit 2 together in this way. All right, when you finish your piece, this is what it should look like. It's a little strange, kind of like a deflated balloon. And you can see I still have 8 stitches on my needle. So first I'm going to cut my yarn, leaving a long tail for seaming. Right, so just cut it and get rid of your, other needles, yarn. You don't need that anymore. And grab you a yarn needle. Okay, they don't have a sharp tip. It's nice and blunt, so it doesn't split your stitches. And you're going to take your yarn tail and just thread it through your needle. There we go. And now pretend like that is your right hand needle. See, I have 8 stitches here. I'm going to pretend like this is my right hand needle, and I'm just going to slip it like I'm purling. Slip it right off. And then next one, I'm just going to slip them all onto the needle. And if it gets too many on there, it's okay to push them back because they're caught by that yarn tail. They're not going to come loose or anything. So take all of them off. There we go. Put my needle away and pull it tight. This gathers the top. You see this done in hats all the time. Things like that, you'll gather it. So pull it tight and it gets the very top of our egg taken care of. Like I said, it looks like a deflated balloon. Looks very strange at first. What we're going to do is use the mattress stitch to work all the way down. So right now we're looking at our V stitches. We worked from the bottom to the top. So when we look at it upside down like this, our V's actually look like they're upside down. So they go in this direction. That's important when working the mattress stitch because you want all the stitches to go in the same direction. And you're going to find the very edge over here. So see our upside down V is right there. I'm going to actually put my needle in right beside that very last full upside down V stitch. There's a little bar in there and sometimes it's a little hard to find at first. So keep feeling around. You'll find just, there it is, one little bar. And you'll put your yarn through there and pull to close. I have a little loose loop here, so just push that inside. Don't know where that came from, but push it inside and pull it tight. Now, for this to work, you're going to need to find the edge V-stitch on both sides. Remember, it looks like it's upside down. So there it is right here. This is our row that's upside down. And I'm going to find that bar right beside that V-stitch. Okay, it looks like that. And I'll pull it closed. And then you're just going to go back and forth. So come back to that first side. The very next stitch down, find your bar. Pull through. And then back to the other side. And this is kind of curling up a little bit because, well, it's stockinette stitch. And so that happens. So just kind of fold it out flat as best you can and then find each stitch. And as you pull it tight, it's going to actually really close this little shape up. And it may not look much like an egg now, but once you put the stuffing in, it will look much, much better. Okay, back and forth. You know you got it right when you find that little bar. Okay, so just keep working. We're going to work all the way down, but we're going to stuff it about when you get to this point right here. So leave that end open, work about 2/3 of the way down right here, and then you're going to stuff. Okay, so I've worked it down here. Like I said we're going to do, now I'm going to stuff it. It's best to take smaller pieces and stuff them in. So go ahead and pack it firmly in there, a small piece at a time, because when you get a big wad of it, it tends to bunch up. So I take small pieces and put them in. So it takes a little bit, but you're just going to want to keep pushing it in there until you get the shape that you really like. So it's okay to mess with it and fill it out in certain parts, and but just keep filling it with stuffing. It took a little bit. See how I had to really get the top to shape into the egg shape that I wanted. So stuff it all the way in there, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to close the bottom. Okay, I've got it stuffed in a really nice shape. I like this now. But you see I still have this part open at the bottom. Now there's my seam. You can see how that really does hide in there. And so we're just going to close up the bottom. So I'm on the very last part of my stitches, and I'm going to just kind of run the needle through these last stitches here. We had an original 8 stitches we cast on, and we're going to want to gather those up in a similar way to the way that we closed the top. So go ahead and run it through there. And then we will tie it off. When I'm working with something that has stuffing, like an animal or something like that, I really like to just tie the ends together to keep them from coming undone. And then you just hide the ends inside of the project. It's one of the things I love about things like amigurumi, like in crocheting or knitting or anything, because you don't have to worry as much about weaving it in. So go ahead and secure the end. So you might want to make a few stitches on the outside and make sure that it's as secure as you like. Okay, that looks good to me. And then I'm going to run the needle just out. Make sure it's going actually through a stitch, not like splitting your yarn. And then you're just going to cut it off. There we go. So you'll do that with the other end as well. Just kind of sew it in place a little bit. So you'll thread, your yarn needle, stitch it through, and then you're finished. That is your finished egg. Now mine is, I'd have to work on the shaping just a little more, and you can see at the bottom the knit front and back, but it's the perfect stitch for beginners. I hope you've enjoyed our knitting tutorial for this free and easy knitting pattern, and that you'll come visit us at love.life.yarn.com for more than 200 free knitting and crochet patterns. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.